Hi, this is Libby Peters, your nurse educator, and I'm here today to discuss with you the ongoing competency packet that you will find in your mailbox and also in your email that we need to begin working on, and the deadline for completion is by February 28th, 2017. The difference in the ongoing competency process this year is that we need to do steps of the process by certain deadlines. So even though the entire packet's not due until February 28th, each part of the packet has different deadlines. So I'm here to kind of discuss with you how you can successfully complete your packet and hopefully give you any tips that you might need along the way. So looking at the form, it is similar to what it has been in years past. But one thing I want to talk about is the very first column, that is the competency statement, which is this column right here, which is actually the second column over, but it has the most writing in it. This is going to be, it's how we measure the competency. And so you have a pre and post comfort level assessment that you have to do about yourself and how you feel about the first competency. We're doing two this year on 5 Northwest. We have the first one is on patient discharge and the second one is on nurse responsiveness. So I'm discussing the first competency, and I hope you have this in your hand while you're watching the video, but you'll see the competency part number 1 is for patient discharge, and part 1 you'll see on the form you have some, let me put it up there, I know it's backwards, but you can see the bold R's. What those bold R's mean is that's a required element for the competency. In order to be successful, you have to complete all the required elements. If you see an O, that means you have a choice in which one of the activities you want to do. So if you have a bold O in parentheses, that's an optional activity. But the statement is choose one of the optional activities. So you have to pick one, but you do get a choice, and that's the last step. We'll talk about that in a minute. So competency number 1, patient discharge. The first thing you have to do is complete the pre-learning competency self-assessment tool, which is attached to your packet, and it looks like this. That has to be done by September 30th and turned in to me. Second, you have to complete the Online Learning Center course IS 14.09.4, the Cerner Depart process, and that is due by October 30th, 2017. Next, you have to complete the Online Learning Center course IS 14.19.2, and that's Medication Reconciliation, and that's due by October 30th also. So when you complete all the Part 1 steps, they all have to be done by October 30th. Then you're ready to move on to Part 2. Part 2 is you have to sit with a clinical lead, one of the day shift clinical leads, and this goes for night shift and day shift people. If you don't usually do day shift charge or day shift clinical lead, then you need to sit with them and watch them do a depart process and how they do it. And there's a criterion checklist which is going to be in your packet, and you should review this before you sit down with the clinical lead. You're going to watch them do a depart process, and then you're going to have them validate you do a depart process. There's a place where you write in the FIN number and the date of discharge for the one that they validate you on. If you are a clinical lead who does charge and works day shift, you will need to validate 5 people. So obviously you're good at it, you're proficient, you do this all the time, and we are relying on your expertise to help with getting everybody else validated for the year. But also your part of the validation, how you get validated, is by checking off at least a minimum of 5 team members in doing a depart process and doing it correctly according to the criterion checklist that's included in the packet. If you are a night shift team member, you need to get with somebody on days to do this. We appreciate how hard everybody works on nights, on all shifts, but especially the opportunity to discharge people just doesn't come up that often on night shift. So the feeling is that you guys should get with the day shift clinical leads and get signed off, even if you're a charge person or a night shift charge clinical lead. So if you have any questions about that part, please contact me and we can discuss it. And then that all has to be completed by December 31st of this year. Then next you have part 3 of the competency, of the first competency. And you have a post-learning self-assessment, which looks just like that pre-one that we held up a while ago, on your comfort level with doing a depart process. That's in your packet. That needs to be completed by February 28th, and you can attach it to your packet. Then you have it's required that you do one of the optional activities at the bottom. So there's 2 optional activities, you only have to do one, your choice. And the first one is complete the CE Direct course WEB 298 titled Low Health Literacy, Discharge Education. Or you can create a storyboard explaining the discharge process and place it in the break room and get 20 of your colleagues to sign a roster that they viewed your board and spoke with you about it by February 28th. That will complete the first competency. We're also doing a second competency this year on nurse responsiveness. So you have to complete the CE Direct course titled No Way Around It. Rounding means satisfied patients and nurses. It's course code CE711. That needs to be done by October 31st, 2017. Part 2 is attend one of the scheduled focus groups and participate in a discussion on responsiveness and empathy being held during the months of November and December. The dates are attached to your packet, and you have to go to the Online Learning Center and register to attend the course. Here is the schedule list of dates. The course code in the Online Learning Center is A1109. And that is a live session, and it's going to be fun. It's not going to be just everybody sitting around talking. We're going to do some role playing. We're going to have some games. It's going to be a fun session. I think you'll enjoy it. And also it'll be a good time to brainstorm on how we can make sure that our responsiveness to our patients is where it should be. Part 3 of this competency is due by February 28th, and you have to complete one of the 2 options. Option 1 is provide copies of 2 patient compliment cards received during this evaluation year, naming you by name and how you contributed to their positive patient experience. And there's a list of certain examples that are acceptable, such as high five card with details of your interaction with the patient, a patient letter or greeting card naming you and complimenting your care specifically, or if you get mentioned into a Press Ganey survey with compliments. Those are things that will count towards that. And if you can provide 2 examples, then you've met that optional activity. The second choice that you have, if you don't have any compliment cards, is you can write an exemplar, which is a paragraph or 2 about how you used the 5 P's of intentional rounding to increase patient safety and create a positive patient experience for a particularly memorable patient that you've cared for. Please don't include any patient names or identifying information, and just write the scenario of how it happened. That is due by February 28th. Please make a copy for your records and then attach a copy to the competency. One thing I want to point out on your competency, when you complete everything, there is a place for you to sign. After you, right there it's highlighted, employee signature. You sign that last page and attach everything that should be done that hasn't already been turned in. So all your final things would be attached to this unless you've turned them in already. And turn it in to me by February 28th. And then when you go for your evaluation in April, or at the end of the evaluation year, I'll give all the information to your manager, and she will have your information on how you met your competency. Now, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me or email me. I'll be very glad to answer questions for you. And at any time, you can replay this video if you have questions that might need to be answered, and it may be answered in the video that we've discussed it already. So I hope you enjoy your competency year this year. I hope it's meaningful, and I hope that you find it useful. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye.